Thanks for watching, everybody. This is odds.com. If you missed the show, check out the link below. You can see the whole thing over on odds.com. Yeah. All right. Jose Aldo taking on Marlon Chito Vera. This is a fight that I was surprised at the amount of feedback that I got on it. Jose Aldo 28-7, Marlon Vera 16-6. This is another changing of the guard fight. It reminds me a lot of Tony Ferguson and Charles Oliveira last week, where you've got the young hungry dog taking that appropriate step up against an aging veteran. Does he still have it? Can he still turn back that clock? We'll find out on Saturday. Aldo is just not the same fighter to me, guys. I don't see it anymore. And especially one thing, so I'll just go ahead and pull the rug here. I bet on Marlon Vera. And a lot of people were telling me that if Jose Aldo fights like he fought against Peter Yan, he wins this fight. I got to wonder if you guys watched that fight super closely. Jose Aldo came into that fight as flat-footed as you can possibly get. And he looked to go power for power with a guy that's in fight years, 10 years younger than him, and much, much more technically proficient than him in MMA 2020. Jose Aldo was the king 10 years ago, but he hasn't evolved his game plan. He doesn't use his leg kicks anymore. Now he doesn't even have that explosive movement that he used to have. He just looks to walk forward and trade. That is the worst game plan you could possibly have against Marlon Chito Vera. This guy is made out of iron. If you are looking for a me punch you, you punch me, let's see who falls down first fight, you do not want to be doing that against Marlon Vera. I think Jose Aldo comes in this, and if he goes power for power with Vera, he's going to find out on the wrong side of this fight that he is not as durable as he used to be. On top of coming off of a life-changing beating against Peter Yan, I don't know how people can have the kind of confidence that they do in Jose Aldo at this point. That's the type of fight, James, that you just aren't the same person after. He was deep in that fight. Round 4, it could have been stopped. Round 5, it should have been stopped 3 minutes earlier. Like, he took a hellish beating in that fight. And I know he's taken a decent amount of time off, but coming back, that's a PTSD fight. You know, if Marlon Vera clips him with something big, if he gets dropped, I just don't know if he's going to have that never say die attitude anymore. We see these veterans fall off a cliff, and I think that cliff is here. Jose Aldo being 1-3, I think, in his last 4 fights as well. I know a lot of people felt like he won that close split decision against Marlon Moraes. I did not have a bet on that fight, and I think Marlon Moraes won that fight. So the UFC didn't do him any favors giving him a title shot off a loss there. I think this is Vera's time to rise. I think it's finally his time to stand up. I've been high on this kid for years, and I don't know what about the mystique of Sean O'Malley got me off of him, James, but I missed my opportunity to bet on him as a gigantic underdog against Sean O'Malley. I believed the hype, and he taught me a lesson, so I'm back. I'm back on the Vera train, and I shouldn't have gotten off it in the first place.
I'm going the other way on this one. I do like Aldo in this fight, and I'm glad you brought up the points you did because they're all absolutely fair points, but I want to remind people who he just lost to in the bantamweight champion in Piotr Yan. Marlon Chito Vera has not fought anyone close to that level at this point, including Sean O'Malley, who, you know, O'Malley's talented, but I mean, there's a weird ending to the fight. Chito Vera clearly won. I'm not of the truthers that think that, oh, you know, O'Malley stepped on a banana peel and somehow lost that fight. No, it was because of Chito Vera implementing damage that O'Malley lost that fight. I mean, he shouldn't have been an underdog there. It should have been a pick 'em at best in terms of that matchup. But here's the thing with Aldo that I want to remind people here. You look at who he's losing to, you know, Yan, Moraes, Volkanovski, who's the featherweight champion. And then he's still getting good wins in between there. Like, people have said that Aldo's been done since Conor. Well, then how does he get wins over Frankie Edgar and Jeremy Stevens, who he finished? I mean, think about Zabit. He didn't finish Zabit in that fight, or Zabit didn't finish Jeremy Stevens. Moicano, he finished him in the second round in a fight where he was able to adjust. So I don't think Aldo's completely fallen off a cliff yet. I do know that Chito Vera does have good knockout power. We've seen that against a lot of guys, but look at the guys he's beating. I mean, the Uhl win was good. O'Malley's good, but Nolan Hernandez not in the UFC. Frankie Saenz is on his way out. You know, Canelli. You know, there's a lot of wins here that just aren't quality, whereas Aldo, it's been the opposite. He's fought nothing but killers. So I'll tell you what I like, and I actually recommended this on my props bet video here on odds.com, which, by the way, I ended up going 3 for 3 last week, which doesn't happen often. I took the decision prop in the Ferguson and Oliveira fight, which I got lucky on because that should have been ended in the first round. I picked Dern by decision last week, and I also picked Gain inside the distance, which all hit. So we'll see what happens this week. Probably not going to be as lucky, but The prop I like in this fight is the fight goes the distance, and I'll tell you why here. Because right now you can get that for -170, because I think it's a little bit iffy here. I don't think Aldo finishes Chito Vera. Vera's never been knocked out in his career. And conversely, Vera does have some knockouts, but it's 3 rounds. It's not 5. So I don't think if Aldo gets finished, I don't think it'll be an early stoppage. I think, Vera does win. It might be a case of him just getting the better power shots over the 3-round fight. I have a feeling this fight's not going to end inside the distance, and I could see it going to the judges' scorecards. And I do worry where the judges go in this one. Do they go with Aldo with his dynamic striking, or do they go with Vera with his power? It'll be interesting to see, but I think that's the safest bet here. But saying that, I'm still going to pick Aldo here just based off level of competition. I think it's hard to ignore who he's fought. We saw it last week with Tony Ferguson. Obviously, it wasn't a one-off bad fight with Justin Gaethje. He just is not where he's at now as a contender. This might be the fight for Aldo. You could be 100% right here, but I tend to think just with who he's fought, I think he's got a little bit left in him, and I think that's going to be enough to beat Chito Vera. So we'll see.
Yeah, I totally respect it. I get it, and I can absolutely understand. I'm the guy that uses that level of competition argument in a lot of places, but I also feel like there may be a bit of a letdown here. Jose Aldo, he drops the fight to Conor McGregor. He comes back against Frankie Edgar, one of the greatest of all time, and wins. He gets his belt back. And yeah, he gets knocked out by Max Holloway, but that's the next generation. He turns back the clock and he KOs Jeremy Stevens and the KOs Renato Moicano, and he's back, folks. Jose Aldo is back. And then he has a tough fight with Volkanovski. He loses that one, but you know what? He's just one win away from the title. He drops a split to Marlon Vera, but Dana White flies in and gives him the fight. He gets the championship title fight against Jan. And it's just been roller coasters, man. He finally got back to that strap. He's got a chance to be the man again. And he gets TKO'd badly. I don't know if he's going to come. You just don't come back from that anymore. He already did it once. You know what I mean?
I know,
very few people get to that peak and they fall off of it and then get back to it. Nobody gets back to it. He already did it once.
Dan Hooker. I'm going to tell you, there's the Dan Hooker rule. I think there is the Dan Hooker rule, which sometimes does apply. And you know what the Dan Hooker rule is? He got absolutely destroyed by Edson Barbosa. Do you remember that fight? It wasn't even close. That was a fight where they should have thrown in the towel. What does Dan Hooker do the next fight? He does the exact same thing to Ali Quinta. He destroys Ali Quinta. So trust me, I know there are fighters when they lose, they're never the same, but I don't know, man. We'll see. Obviously, if Aldo loses this fight, he's not a contender, but we'll see. There are certain situations where you can see a fighter turn it around even after a bad loss.
I totally agree with you, and I love the Dan Hooker angle, but Dan Hooker has never touched gold. What I'm talking about is specifically when someone has had that belt wrapped around their waist. He's the man. He is the king. He has that firm belief in his soul that he can get back there. And he finally does, and then he gets broken by the next generation. That's what I'm talking about. To me, that's a different level. I don't know if Jose Aldo is going to have it anymore, and I may eat my words here, but this is a situational spot that I just have to take. It's another spot where the young dog is stepping up. I think it's an appropriate time for him to make that step up. Yes, Jose Aldo is a legend. Yes, it's a very big step up, but I also think Marlon Vera has been trending the right direction his entire career. Even though he's fought these guys that are not the names that we're looking for, he's been absolutely handling them. The only one recently that gave him a fight was Song Yadong, and Song Yadong is a bad man. He went a full 15 minutes, and that was a hell of a fight. So I think he's on the cusp. He's there. He's ready. Now he's going to be the younger fighter, the hungrier fighter. He's going to be the mean one out there in the cage. And I just don't know if Jose Aldo is going to be able to match that intensity.
We'll see. I love your analysis here. We'll see. I'll be watching that one closely on Saturday, and we'll have to definitely chat about it and see how it unfolds.
For sure. This one's going to be a fun one. And I mean, it's another spot where as a fan, it'd be great to see Jose Aldo get back on track. It'd be so good. But I think he's done at this point. I haven't been the guy that buried him. I did bet against him when he fought Peter Yan because I'm a Yan truther. And it wasn't before that I really was saying that Jose Aldo was shot or done. But now I'm saying it. Now I'm saying he's shot. Now I'm saying he's done. And I do want to shout out my guy in the chat here. I think Chris Blanchard, where'd you go? Yeah, man. I felt like Verna Jandiroba won that fight. I really had it. I had it scored 1-1 going into the third round, and I thought that she had done more in round 3 and probably should have gotten the nod. That was a very unfortunate loss in my opinion. I thought we got it.
See, I disagree. And actually, if you go to MMA decisions, majority of media members actually scored it for Dern. Just want to point that out. So
I get that, and I'm not calling it a robbery. I scored it the other way.
Yeah.
I scored it the other way. There was no robbery. It was a very, very close fight. When you look at the stats, when you look at the numbers, it was extremely close. Obviously, I'm biased. But yeah, it all came down to round 3, and that's what you're looking for when you bet a dog. If it's 1-1 going into round 3 and you've got, plus 160, you're good. That's what you're looking for. That's exactly what you need.
Fair enough.